Welcome to Alpha as Guy, where we break down but hopefully don't break early access games, and today we're looking at Hover Revolt of Gamers. Funded more than 3 times over its Kickstarter goal, Hover takes games like Jet Set Radio and Mirror's Edge, throws in elements of films like The Fifth Element and Total Recall, mixes all of them together, and forms a colorful alien city where the player can run, jump, grind, slide, and climb everywhere, from the lowest transport tunnels to the highest rooftops. Put together primarily by the 3-person French development team Fusty Game, Hover is still in its early alpha stages, operating outside of Steam using an Orion client. It has offline and online play, but for this video I'll primarily focus on the offline play, as I've rarely managed to be online at the same time as other users, though meetups have been organized on the game's forums. You play as a somewhat customizable incarnation of one of the characters, and get in contact with members of the Resistance, fighting against the new mayor's radical anti-leisure policies, as well as security measures he's implementing around the city. You take one of the Resistance's magnetic suits and go through a few trials involving the old Resistance hideout before being able to do whatever you want around the city. Activities include getting rid of anti-gaming propaganda, hacking containers to get and distribute game balls, and racing other players or CPUs, to name a few, all of which can be easily found using the scanner on the suit. These activities, as well as finding game consoles and picking up XP icons, gives the player experience toward levels which grant ability points to do things like run faster, jump higher, and throw game balls farther, and at set points unlock skins of other characters to change your appearance further. Players can explore a section of the city made available in the alpha, although there are large fences blocking off unfinished areas and locks on all doors marking them as inaccessible. So for now players can go on or around buildings but not in them. The controls are fairly well designed, as running, jumping, grinding, and what have you all feel intuitive and smooth after a quick tutorial and a little practice. That goes for first person and third person play, though being in first person mode while doing multiple flips can become really disorienting. And if you do end up missing a jump or a grind or just plain going the wrong way, there's a rewind feature that allows you to go back and try again. Something that does take getting used to is sudden changes of direction. Your momentum continues in whatever direction you were going when trying to turn, so sharp turns and stops at high speeds cause the character to drift a bit. I don't necessarily dislike this, but it does take getting used to, namely when trying to do races that involve running through some of the twisting alleys and tunnels in the city. XP icons scattered around the city do respawn. They aren't worth much, and it does take time for this to happen, but it's not so long that a player couldn't just camp at an area and grab them over and over. Collision detection, namely when grabbing ledges, could use a little work. There were numerous times my character would grab onto nothing instead of the ledge or rail nearby. There's also this spot where my character stands on nothing instead of walking on the sloped part of the building. I'm not sure if this was intentional, but there's a way to time wall jumps so that characters can climb all the way up the tallest structures in the city. Hell, I managed to wall jump so high on this barrier that I hit the invisible ceiling, fell, and then bounced across a good portion of the city. The scanner is helpful for finding NPCs and things to do, but this one particular point leads to an empty white box. Is this just a placeholder for something not added yet, or something more? I couldn't tell if this was just happening in one part of the city, but it seemed like I would come across this one pedestrian that was moving about, 20 times faster than everybody else. When standing on moving platforms, my character would slide around as the platform navigated around part of the city until he fell off. It also gave him a case of the crazy legs. Lastly, there was a time I was on the online server, disconnected, hit resume, and wound up as a floating camera, capable of going over, under, and through every part of the city, including blocked off areas. I could even leave the city entirely. I doubt this was intentional because it revealed some of the things that were still being worked on. Here's hoping that the next update finishes these areas and opens up more of the city, but until then...
Let's go! Hey! Take it to the top now. Here we go. Where you at? Right here. Feeling good? That's clear. I'm heading to the top. Unpacking my gear. I got to get ready for the party of the year. I can feel it in the air. What an atmosphere. Let's go. Fast, not slow to the highest plateau. So high in the sky, you can see your shadow. So come on, put your body in orbit. Soak it all in, be a sponge and absorb it. Yup, it's sinking in, got the wind in my hair. I was a little scared, flying on the wing in a prayer. It was a double dare. Yeah. Man, I didn't prepare. So what? Life's good, live it up in the air. Cause it's time to get away from the rush of the crowd. Just let yourself go when you're up in the clouds. Cause yo, down there, you've been stuck in the rat race. Running a fast pace, but coming in last place. So let's go, it's time that we leave. Break away and come climbing with me. Take it up to the
Move aside and let the man go through. Let the man go through. Move aside and let the man go through. Let the man go